Sweta, you will appreciate that these communities are living in remote areas,
Mm-hmm.
and because of remoteness, people don't know much about their
Yeah.
talent, their artworks, their art forms. So I think media can play a very important role in highlighting their work. And let's also understand that these works have not been documented. In fact, the book which you have shown, this was the first effort we tried to document their work. So media has a very important role that not only in India but worldwide, because we are living in a globalized world where forest protection or nature preservation in one part is having impact in different part of the world.
Welcome to Swiss Impact with Banerjees. Have you noticed how sustainability is not just a trend anymore?
Totally. This season, we are exploring the circular economy. The products are made to be used, reused, and recycled.
And we are seeing some incredible examples like turning ocean plastic into fashion or art.
Or creating electronics that are built to last, not just be replaced.
And we are going to spotlight these pioneers and see how they're driving real change and what can we learn.
And let's dive into it right now.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our amazing audience around the world. And a very happy Deepavali to our viewers from India celebrating the season of light and hope.
Welcome back, everyone. Today's episode is really special. In almost 5 years of our journey, we have only once touched on a topic as deeply connected to culture, history, and the future of our planet as is today's theme.
Yeah, that episode was unforgettable. I remember our friend Kasike, who joined us, sharing insights that were both profound and eye-opening. Ben, any thoughts you'd like to share before we start today's discussion?
Thank you, Sweta. In just few days, I'll be heading to the United Arab Emirates and then to COP29 in Baku. This summit isn't just another gathering, it's a call for real action on climate change. Leaders worldwide are gathering to confront some of the most urgent challenges of our time. And this includes the often overlooked experiences of indigenous communities.
Indeed, indigenous communities have been the unsung protectors of our planet. Indigenous people make up less than 5% of the global population, yet they protect over 80% of the Earth's biodiversity.
And these communities have lived in harmony with nature for generations, contributing profoundly to sustainability. But despite their crucial role, they are often marginalized, facing forced displacement, violence, and even imprisonment simply for defending their lands. It's a painful irony. They are protecting the natural resources we all rely on, but often without support or recognition.
Absolutely, Ben. And in India, we are beginning to see more visibility for indigenous voices. The election of India's first indigenous president, Excellency Draupadi Murmu, is a historic step. Her leadership brings much needed visibility to the Adivasi communities like the Santals and Gonds, who have lived sustainably and carry forward a rich culture heritage.
Yes, and it is so inspiring to see such progress. Leaders like President Murmu reminds us of the resilience and the wisdom within these communities. And as we face environmental and social challenges, their knowledge and connection to the land offers invaluable insights. We have so much to learn from them.
So with that, no more talking. It's our absolute honor to introduce today's guest, someone dedicated to human rights and empowering indigenous communities. Please join us in welcoming Mr. Bharat Lal, Secretary General of the National Human Rights Commission of India. Mr. Lal, thank you for joining us to discuss these critical issues today, and welcome.
Good afternoon, Ben and Sweta. Good evening in different parts of.
Namaste.
Namaste.
It's wonderful to be here with you.
And Mr. Lal, I just want to introduce you to our community and to our audience. So, you have spent over 30 years empowering India's marginalized communities and advocating for human rights. From founding the Jal Jeevan Mission, which delivers clean water to millions, to supporting tribal women with essential maternal health care programs, your work has represents resilience and transformative impact. And I even read that after the Gujarat earthquake, your efforts to rebuild water and sanitation system empowered communities to manage their own resources, showcasing your commitment to a community-driven approach. Additionally, you have been championing India's heritage by promoting tribal art, reflecting your vision for an inclusive and balanced India. So, as usual, most of the people today or our audience must have guessed that today's episode is dedicated to celebrating the indigenous people of India, the heartbeat of its culture and heritage. They're not only the guardians of ancient wisdom, but also a very powerful force in our journey towards balanced and harmonious world.
Amazing.
So, welcome, Mr. Lal. Where are you at this moment?
Thank you very much. At the moment, I'm at New Delhi.
Wow, and enjoying Diwali. So, Diwali must be going on out of your house.
Let me take this opportunity to wish you and as well as our viewers a very very happy Diwali. As you know, the significance of Diwali, that our Lord Rama, actually he returned to after 14 years. He spent in forest, and as you know, the forest, because of these factors, it has a very very important link with our civilization. In a 5,000-year-old civilization, forests, wildlife, water bodies, nature has a very strong connect.
Wow. So you really need no introduction, Mr. Lal. However, for our global audience who have been unfamiliar with your remarkable journey, could you share a bit about your background and the path that led you to where you are today?
Well, as you know that a country like India, I think since childhood we are educated. We are the kind of value system we are having, where basically we have to devote our life for others. Actually, as you know, our heroes, our societal heroes, they are people like starting from Lord Buddha to Mahatma Gandhi in modern days. So, like any young man, I was also driven by the same ideals and joined civil services in 1988 after completion of my education in basically biochemistry, and I was doing some research work in breast cancer, actually oncology. But I joined civil services because I was driven by this public service. And most importantly, that in last 35, 36 years, I got the opportunity to contribute meaningfully to improve the lives of people, enhance their ease of living, and of course, more importantly, that bringing dignity to people. So I consider, so far as my contribution is, and the opportunity I got is basically to contribute in improving people's lives.
Thank you.
Thank you. We recently actually saw this inspiring movie, 12th Fail, which highlights the incredible challenges of passing this famous UPC SC exam, one of the toughest in the world. And you also has passed this one, otherwise you wouldn't be at the position that you are today. Could you share what motivated you through that journey and how it prepared you for the remarkable career you have built?
I was born in northern India. Basically, the city was known as Allahabad, nowadays known as Prayagraj, actually.
Oh, that's
And
my city also.
yeah, and this city was basically, you can say, the hub of political activities and our freedom struggle before 1947. So the culture of the city is that education. The culture of the city is public service. In fact, they have so many leaders, who came from this place in different walk of life, who contributed meaningfully. I think that motivated all of us. In fact, every young man in that university, our university, get motivated to join judiciary, civil services, scientific, So I are also motivated to join public service. But yes, it always excited me actually that work in such areas where you can impact people's life, change their lives, And this motivation actually, I think, keeps on helping us to keep on going despite so much challenges. I mean, you appreciate that 1.4 billion people in this country, so there are enormous challenges. But I think you are driven by that, those kind of idealism where you want to solve people's problem. And when you have that clear cut goal, and civil services offers that kind of excellent opportunity actually to contribute, to bring.
Mhm.
And that's how got motivated and joined civil services, and then my life continued.
Can you tell us that tribal art and culture are a very significant part of India's heritage? So, why do you believe it's essential to promote and preserve this art form? And what steps are being taken to safeguard it for the future generations?
Well, as you know that out of 1.44 billion people, 9% population is of tribal communities. They are spread all over India, basically central India, northeastern India, and middle Himalayas. These tribal communities are living in perfect harmony with forest. They are preserving these forests, they are preserving wildlife, and more importantly, they treat these wild animals that their own family member. In fact, many tribal communities, they think that they have evolved from tiger. Many
Yeah,
of them, they
I
worship.
remember this book you gave me.
Yeah. So if you
Yeah.
see the first part of this painting, actually, the first part, they consider themselves, they manifest in the painting form that they have evolved from tiger. And in
Oh,
second drawing, you can see that they worship tiger actually, and they call it Bag. Bag means tiger, and Dev means God. Vag Dev. So it is very important that these kind of their relationship, their ethos, conserve ethos, we must know. And let me also share here that Government of India in last 10 years have done remarkable work to preserve and conserve not only forests and wildlife, but promote the rights of these tribal people, providing them certain amenities, as I uh, uh, might be knowing, as you mentioned in the beginning, that imagine in last 10 years, 110 million toilets have been constructed.
Mm.
150 million households have been connected with tap water connection.
Mhm.
110 million cooking gas connection have been provided, and most of the beneficiary, I like 40 million new houses have been constructed and provided to people. So all these benefit is going to tribal people. And second part most important is that in the country we have started what you call a club model residential schools. Basically, it is up to 12th standard residential school where they're not only modern education, but their culture, their art, their sports, that is being promoted. And third part is tribal museum. Everywhere tribal museum is coming up. And lastly, what you have seen is silent conversation. That relationship between these tribal communities and nature are wild element, and they communicate. We have termed it as silent conversation. So this exhibition, their art forms are being brought to cities and in the capital actually, and where people should know about their relationship, their conservation ethos, and it also provide opportunity to earn them livelihood. So a number of steps have been taken to not only promote their culture, but also improve the quality of life and dignity of these tribal communities.
That's amazing initiatives to uplift this community. Thank you for sharing that. So, what role do you see digital platforms and media playing in promoting tribal art? And how can they help reach audiences who may otherwise be unaware of these beautiful traditions?
Sweta, you will appreciate that these communities are living in remote areas,
Mhm.
and because of remoteness, people don't know much about their
yeah.
talent, their artworks, their art forms. So I think media can play a very important role in highlighting their work. And let's also understand that these works have not been documented. In fact, the book which you have shown, this was the first effort we tried to document their work. So media has a very important role, that not only in India but worldwide, because we are living in a globalized world where forest protection or nature preservation in one part is having impact in different part of the world. Today we are saying that there in Spain there is a flood. We
Yeah.
have seen a drought and forest fire and everywhere. So I think it's very important that these tribal communities, whatever talent they have, the kind of artworks have, it should be promoted. People should know. And I will request actually that people should buy it, encourage
Yeah.
it. They should learn from them actually. They should not go to national park and sanctuaries only to see a tiger, but
Yeah.
also try to have that conservation ethos that should bring it back to their homes.
Exactly.
If I look at this, it's amazing. Now modern art, sometimes you look at it and think, and where is the art? My kid can paint much better, but this has a spirit in there. So it's really amazing. Would definitely encourage to buy that.
So, what is this Vocal for Local initiative and how can it foster the promotion of tribal art?
See, this Vocal for Local initiative has been started by our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. The idea is that this country like ours, which is so
Right.
diverse, and it's a 5,000 years old civilization, every parts of the country, every community has some kind of ethos, some kind of product, some kind of relationship with nature. So idea is that these local products, these more importantly, there's a handicraft or artworks, it should be brought to the notice of people, and we should be
Yeah.
talking about it. So idea is that the people different parts of country should talk about it, and when people are going in these areas, they should be able to buy it, to pick up it, and encourage these communities and these people to continue with their products.
It's Happy Diwali going on. Huh? I hope
I
it's
love
not
it.
too strong.
I love it. It's pity we
As you
don't
know,
have it in Switzerland.
Well, we have it
as
as
you know,
engineers.
sorry, yeah, please go ahead.
Preserving tribal art often requires a holistic approach, Bharat, including economic support for artisans. So, how do you believe economic empowerment can contribute to cultural preservation, and what opportunities are available to support these artists?
Well, as we all know that these tribal communities are living in forested area, and they have been dependent on forest and forest produce for their livelihood. But I think that is not sufficient actually. So tribal art are their artworks and artifacts. If we promote it and people start taking interest, they start buying it, they will get additional income. So our idea is that we should do it. So two things has happened. One, there is government of India has created one organization, it is known as TriFed, and this organization is having tribal shops everywhere in the country. They have and where basically their handicraft, their product are basically sold. But most importantly, recently, Sankla Foundation, this is a non-governmental organization, with the support and cooperation of National Tiger Conservation Authority, National Human Rights Commission, International Big Cat Alliance, they have organized this exhibition basically, and where all tribal art forms are brought from different parts of country. Last year, it was inaugurated by President of India, Draupadi Murmu, who herself comes from one of the tribal communities of Odisha, and they were hosted at Rashtrapati Bhavan. This year, again, it was organized, which was inaugurated by our External Affairs Minister, and President of India again hosted them, these tribal artists. So we are trying to promote tribal arts so that people should be able to know that these are the conservation ethos, these are the talent, and these are the work they are having, and most importantly, people should internalize these values, these conservation ethos, their future generation basically they
Yeah.
internalize. So if we are able to promote tribal art and they get some additional income, this will help in sustaining these activities and their work.
Fully agree to this. And can partnership with educational institutions help integrate tribal art into mainstream education, making it accessible and appreciated by the young people?
Without any doubt, as we all know that our younger generation is having much more stake in climate, in environment, in forest and wildlife. So
Yeah.
it is very, very important that they must get insight into these conservation ethos. And
Yeah.
if these activities are taken up, they study about these things, I think it will help in preserving art forms. This will also help in basically providing additional income to people. But
Yeah.
most importantly, our younger generation will get into conservation. movement which is taking place worldwide.
Yeah.
I have another question. So, the National Human Rights Commission has a vital role in ensuring justice for marginalized communities. So, how does this organization approach the unique needs of tribal communities within India? What are they doing?
Well, as you know that these tribal people are living in remote and forested area. So most of the time, basic amenities or infrastructure facilities were not up to the mark. And in fact, in the past, their human development indicators, all indices were basically less than the national average. This was one of the major problems. So what National Human Rights Commission is doing, it is not only protecting and promoting civic and political rights, but National Human Rights Commission is also promoting cultural and socio-economic right. Our constitution says that, well, quality of life of people have to be enhanced. There is a part which is called directive principle of state policy,
Yeah.
where all policies and programs are taken up in accordance to these principles. So National Human Rights Commission is basically trying to promote their culture, their ethos. A and B, Government of India, our Prime Minister has launched various programs, and the motto is that no one is left behind. So please appreciate when there is a provision for housing for all, drinking water for all, toilet for all, it means most of the beneficiary will be tribal community. So here, National Human Rights Commission has to ensure that because of any administrative laxity or because of any remoteness or wilderness, these people are not denied these opportunities. A and B, all these facilities and all these benefit must reach quickly to them with speed and scale. Then only their life can be improved and they can concentrate in these kind of activities. So National Human Rights basically Commission works with basically downtrodden, marginalized section of societies and vulnerable groups to protect and promote their rights. And right could be civic and political, cultural, socio-economic, and because idea is that each and every citizen must live with dignity. That is the idea, and National Human Rights Commission work on that.
So you have the Van Bandhu Kalyan Yojana. This has been very transformative for tribal welfare. Can you share some success stories from this initiative and its impact on tribal communities?
See, as I mentioned, that the population of tribal communities in India is about 9%.
Yeah.
And their human development indices were basically not as per national average. So what government did basically, in fact, this was the initiative taken by Prime Minister Mr. Modi, that at least in proportion to their population, fund should be made available for developmental activities. And these developmental activities will be decided by tribal themselves. So one Bandhu Kalyan Yojana, one Bandhu, one means forest, Bandhu means brotherhood. So
yeah.
This one Bandhu Kalyan Yojana, when it was started, basically tribal themselves are deciding that all those activities and basic amenities which is needed to improve their quality of life should be taken up. One example I'll give, that a village can decide that for 5 years I have this much of money. You can have housing for all, toilet for all, electricity for all, cooking gas for all. Then comes a school, health center, And one of the finest example is that in tribal areas, in forested area, there is not much irrigation facilities. They do natural farming basically, and in a country like India, when we have got only 15 to 20 rainy days, they can't have any meaningful crop. So irrigation, especially micro irrigation, was taken up in a big way. And there is in Gujarat there is an area in southern Gujarat which is tribal area and forested area. By taking lift irrigation and micro irrigation, they started raising orchard, and this orchard basically is helping them in improving their economic income and their other activities. Now, all these Van Bandhu Kalyan Yojana is ensuring that all basic amenities which are required for tribal, whether it's say educational or healthcare or livelihood opportunities or infrastructure, it should be provided. And this ensure that sufficient fund is there so that their human development indices basically is in matches to national average.
Dear Bharat, and did you go yourself into such villages? And what was your learning or experience? It would be very interesting to hear.
Well, I had the good fortune of starting my civil service career from a tribal district actually in Gujarat. It is known as Dance actually. I had seen in 1980, 90 basically the kind of deprivation and poverty was there. But despite this, they followed Gandhian principle that they will extract only minimum from the forest areas. They are not destroying forests. They are extracting only minimum to just survive or just to have. I think this has a very profound impact on me that A, we should learn something, try to be minimalist in life. But
Mhm.
be more important, as a civil servant, I think this motivated me. This gave me some kind of inspiration that I think we must work, Just imagine I coming from Allahabad and my education, all those things, it was there. Then I studied in Delhi. I went to dance. The kind of education I had got, let's say 15, 20 years back, these tribal children were not getting that, that time. So I think that was the motivation and learning. And one of the, I would like to mention here that when I was in position to contribute and help, we started, Honorable Prime Minister started a club model residential school. We are is having now started 1,200 schools, one school in basically, let's say 60 to 70 villages, tribal villages of best quality education. So these kind of, they bring that these tribal communities living with them, working with them, brought that kind of sensitivity and motivation that we
Yeah.
must do something to improve their
Yeah.
life. I think that was my biggest gain basically working with tribals. I was able to make my own life meaningful. That let's do something for these tribal
Mhm.
communities.
That's a huge impact. Thank you for sharing.
And we often hear all around the world about the basic human rights to shelter, education, healthcare. Should the right to cultural preservation also be regarded as fundamental, especially for communities like Indian tribals who have such a rich but endangered traditions?
So as you know that human rights is a very evolving concept.
Yeah,
And in India, country like India, because we have such a old civilization, one of the four oldest civilizations. So human right basically always has been there. If you see that our religion, take all the religion basically, they respect, there is empathy, there is a compassion, and now what is happening after Universal Declaration of Human Right in 1948? The cultural right has started gaining strength in India. Cultural rights of tribal is accepted as a basic human right, and that's why
wow.
government is committed and working on protecting and promoting cultural rights of this thing, the which I mentioned just a few minutes back. I mentioned about tribal museums. This is one step about in a club model residential school we are also having facilities for the tribal children to learn their culture, their ethos, their sports, their language, because their history. So cultural rights in India actually, when it comes to tribal communities or any other communities, it is a part of basic human right, and we protect it and we promote it.
Mhm. And how does National Human Rights Commission work with other organizations to ensure that tribal communities have the resources and support needed to practice and preserve their cultural heritage?
See, as you know that National Human Rights Commission, this has two parts. A, we work with government. See, we don't have adversarial relationship, and government is committed to improving the quality of life of its people. So,
Mhm.
A, when we work with government, I think we are able to set priorities as per need of tribal communities. That is the first part. And second part is that we are also having State Human Rights Commission at national level. We are having special rapporteurs and special monitors who keep on looking into various dimensions of human right of tribal communities. They visit these places. They go to, if the conditions are not good, they try to bring it to notice of government. We improve. We issue the advisories. We give direction to government. So this collaborative effort, I think is yielding result. And B, National Human Rights Commission also works extensively with non-governmental organization and human rights defenders. So it is this
Mhm.
partnership with NGOs, with human rights defenders and government at different level. And please appreciate that India, when I talk about government, government is not only at a national level, that union government. There are state government, there are local self government. So there are different levels of government. Idea is that everybody should work together, build partnership, work together, and change people's lives. So this approach of India's National Human Rights Commission, a partnership, I think is helping a lot in transforming the lives of these people.
Do they want their life to be transformed? Like, how do we know that they want their life to be transformed? Are you also um, asking them, like, or how do we know they want really their life to be transformed?
See, see, Indian governance system basically, as you might be knowing, that we have developed what we call unique identity number of each and every person. So their basic amenities and digital governance India has taken to a totally different level. So quality of life, our basic amenities are everything is monitored digitally, and these are the institutions, they work with each other, and they try to collect data, collect information, and that is in public domain. And please appreciate that being a thriving democracy, Indian democracy is a thriving democracy, it's active civil society. And at the moment, this country is basically moving a direction where basically each and every player is trying to contribute his or her might to improve the lives of people. So I think all these put together, and this kind of monitoring system, this kind of digital governance, and this kind of data collection, like next year, a countrywide census operation is going to start. Each and every person, all those socio-economic condition, all the data will be captured in public domain. So I think we have got robust system. And when it comes to human right, National Human Rights Commission also is having online system where basically anybody and everybody in any language, basically they can file any complaint in 22 languages. If there is some discrimination or some problem, in 22 languages they can file. And it is our responsibility to get it translated. And we reach out to those people. And please mind it, National Human Rights Commission is head is the basically is the rank of Chief Justice of India, and other members are judges of Supreme Court. But any person without engaging any lawyer can approach National Human Rights Commission. He or she has to just send one communication in the form of email or online or by post or by telephone. And it is the job of the National Human Rights Commission to reach out and provide justice in shortest possible time. So I think we have
Wow.
developed a fair framework, a
Yeah.
proper framework for not only monitoring the rights and this thing, but taking effective action when there are any kind of violation or any kind of
And
yeah.
and what I wanted to ask you is that you have experience at Lokpal and also at NHRC. So how important, in your opinion, is ethical leadership in public administration? And how do you think it can be fostered at all levels?
Well, kindly appreciate that in any country, and more so in India, when we have such a vast population and people are
Yeah.
having expectation from their civil servants, from their political leadership, that they will, carry out certain activities which will improve their lives. So if you don't have that kind of ethical leadership, if the leadership
Mhm.
is not devoted to, committed to people, if they have
Yeah.
got their own personal agenda, no, governance cannot happen. So
Yeah.
I think to me, the core is ethical governance. The core is that basic, is that we have to be ethically correct, and we should be
Mhm.
devoted to public life. And that's why during our training days, kindly appreciate that our training days, we are giving, inspired by the people, take Mahatma Gandhi or Lal Bahadur Shastri or Sardar Patel or Subhash Chandra Bose. I mean, these
Yeah.
people have given their whole life actually devoted. They never bothered about it. And lastly, kindly, In India, as you know, that still the concept is that public service comes first. The
Yeah.
people who basically are in public service, they are respected in society, they are kept at higher pedestal. I mean, wealth creation is not the only important thing here. So
Yeah.
public service, I think devotion to improving the quality life is the basic need when it comes to public servant and leadership. In my opinion, there can't be any
Yeah.
compromise with ethics and
Fully
ensuring good.
agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah, completely
It's
agree.
a must.
So,
So India is gaining international recognition in its art. So what is your message and what do you hope to achieve into the world by spreading this tribal art and culture?
See, I think one thing I would certainly say that for a moment we should take a pause, think about it, that in this whole planet there are people who are living in forested area, remote area, and they are having symbiotic relationship. I think we have to think about them also, not only about ourselves. First part is that we have to think about also. Second thing, we should have humility, that we should try to learn from them, their
yeah.
conservation ethos. And the third part is try to internalize it and try to contribute it.
Hmm.
We can
Yeah.
contribute by encouraging their artworks, finding them market. For us it might be very few dollars or few euro or few Swiss franc, but imagine that the person who is living in remote area is going to get encouraged, that yes, his or her art, his or her ethos is respected by somebody. I
Yeah.
think I'll appeal to people that let's start thinking about these tribal communities, these tribal people who are living in forested area, remote area, and try to encourage them, try to contribute our might, our share, basically, so that they are able to conserve forests, they are able to conserve wildlife, they are
Yeah.
able to conserve nature for our future generation. Let's not forget that these forests are these nature reserves are the best source of genetic material for future
Yeah.
future generation. So it is our duty that we should be able to protect these forest areas and transfer it to our future children and generation. For doing this thing, I think it's very important that these tribal communities are supported economically
Yeah.
in the form of artworks and artifacts and other activity, so that they are not dependent only on forests for their livelihood.
Yeah. And looking forward, what areas of social and economic development do you see, which is most, or in your opinion, is most critical for India's progress, especially in marginalized and underserved regions?
See, my understanding is that a, as government is already doing, that a, we have to ensure basic amenities and infrastructure in remote area. Whether you are living in Delhi or living in forested area, you should be able to get the same quality of education. It means digital infrastructure is very, very critical. It means we are going to use AI for education or for healthcare or for other things. And B, I think creating opportunities for our youth. So skilling is one area where we have to work, and we are
Yeah.
working a lot. But I think we have to take it to next level. That our young boys and girls, they must get enough skill, and especially
Yeah.
modern skill which is required for the earning their livelihood and making meaningful contribution. And third part is that government has to ensure that we must provide enabling environment, safety, security, and basic amenities where basically young men and women, especially young women, they are able to realize their full potential. So, for a country like India, when we are having this every year, roughly
Yeah.
20 million people are added, our youth comes into workforce. I think we have to create opportunities for them so that they are able to not only live a meaningful life, but they should realize their full potential and make meaningful contribution.
Yeah.
Bharat, you are an example of such humility yourself and an amazing heart. So I'm really inspired by
Yeah.
your presence today. Thank you so much. The time is running out, but I have one more question to you. I think it's a very important one because, if you look at instances from American Indian heritage in the USA or Aboriginals in Australia, tribal art, culture, and history are still endangered globally. So, what call to action would you give to our global audience, which would help to preserve and support these invaluable traditions worldwide? And maybe they are humans with a heart right now on our planet.
Well, as we see that our forest is the a guarantee for climate mitigation or to prevent environmental degradation. As we have seen that every part of world, because of forest degradation, because of economic activities, um, uh, climate change is happening, and its impact we are witnessing it. These tribal communities are living in these forested areas. I think our duty is that we should support them so that there is less pressure on forest or nature, and these forests and nature are protected. We must start protecting their rights. We must start respecting their culture and their rights. I think worldwide, my appeal would be that we should be more considerate, more thoughtful about tribal communities, about indigenous people who are living in forested area, and more important, living harmoniously. They are protecting and preserving those forested area. And I think we have to make that contribution so they are able to protect and these forest areas and these wilderness areas more effectively and more efficiently for our future generation. So my appeal to everybody would be that let's respect their cultural rights, respect their their contribution, and make our own contributions so that they are able to protect and promote this conservation much more effectively.
Thank you very, very much, Bharat. And I
Thank you.
just wanted to know for our audience also. So, how can they support you by this book, which I showed you, like Tigers and Tribes? Is it available on Amazon, or how can people support the your activities and actions?
Well, this yes, as I understand, this book is available on Amazon, and I think the idea behind this book is that people should know about tribal art, tribal culture, and tribal ethos. Actually, their conservation ethos. So yes, if you pick up this book and read it, I think it will help everybody. See, this book is a very small effort, basically, to sensitize people, bring this knowledge and information to people that in forested area, these are the tribal communities who are living there since ages. They play a significant role in basically preserving those forests and wildlife, conserving those forests and wildlife. So when you read this book, you will get sensitized. So this is the first part. The second most important part is that once we internalize this, whenever we go to national park and sanctuaries, we look for animals, we see these animals. We also think about it that there are tribal communities, there are indigenous people who are making huge contribution and sacrifices to protect this forest area, protect this sanctuary, this national park. I think it is our duty that we should think about it and try to help them try to help them in improving their livelihood, improving their income, so they are not dependent on forest for their livelihood.
No.
And thirdly, this book is also a small effort that our children should read it and develop an appreciation for the conservation ethos. A country like India, it has huge, civilizational, ethos. I think learning those ethos, that how a country of 1.44 billion people is still having 23% of its area under forest. Imagine
Yeah.
18% of world population, 5% land area, less than 4% water resources, but having 22, 23% forested area. So I think we
Mhm.
have to learn this thing, that how to live with harmony with nature. Actually, I think that part, so this book will be helpful in basically if people read it, go through it, internalize it, and extend their hand to these tribal communities in preserving their art, their culture,
Yeah.
and more importantly, they bring some economic livelihood and economic benefits so that they are not dependent on forest for their livelihood. I think this will help not only in climate mitigation and environmental protection, but will
Yeah.
also protect the gene pool for our future generation.
Thank you very, very much. This
Thank you for
really,
joining us today, Bharat. It was very grounding, It brings back the roots, I think, to people going back to indigenous communities. Yes.
Thank you. I have the privilege of meeting Ben, but first time I met you, and indeed, indeed, I think it's a huge privilege for me to meet both of you, to have this occasion, to have this discussion. But apart from this this conversation, I think we need actually to think about these communities. We
yeah,
have to help them basically to develop additional livelihood opportunities, because
Mhm.
forests cannot sustain their livelihood, their requirement.
Mhm.
yeah,
I think it is our bounden duty. Otherwise, what will happen? The forest will get destroyed. The wildlife will get destroyed. Actually, So whether
yeah,
you say India or Asia or Africa or I think
yeah,
we have to get out of that mindset that development means destruction of forests.
yeah,
Development means wildlife disappearing. I think we can maintain both the things. India has shown it actually.
Absolutely, yes.
yeah,
India has
Can go
shown that.
along together. Nowadays, they're all technologies and sustainable practices that can maintain this harmony, what you were mentioning, that we can live together in harmony with nature and have still better quality of life.
but still
And
the
I
whole
don't.
idea of thinking us with the nature, we are we are also the nature. We
And
human
I,
have forgotten that we are the nature. We are part of the nature. We have forgotten it. We think
and
we are separate from the nature.
I don't want to embarrass both of you, but I'm really you are doing very meaningful work by doing these kind of things. No, really very meaningful. I was damn. I hats off to you that you are having time and energy for these kind of things. I think nobody is untouched. Imagine the same California is having flood and having drought. Same
Yeah,
Mediterranean, same Europe is having flood, had huge drought,
and
huge forest fire.
Mhm.
Take
yeah,
last year, 2 years back, Pakistan, huge flood, huge flood.
yeah,
I think we all have to understand that we have to think about, and thinking about forests and wildlife. I think one of the surest way is to think
hmm,
about the people who are living there. If we can
yeah,
then wean them away from basically exploiting forests for their livelihood. I think that
yeah.
will be a huge contribution. Huge contribution.
Ex-
Amazing. With
Thank
this, we need
you.
to close the TV show of today. But again,
Thank
one
you
more
very
time,
much.
thank you so much for being with us
Thank
today.
you.
And thank
Thank
you
you
on,
so much.
Happy Diwali. We've heard some of that.
Thank you very much.
Live.
And next time, whenever you are visiting in Delhi, please let me know. It will be our honor and great privilege to have you here. And well, if and when I'm that side, and I look forward to catch up. Look forward to meet
thank
you.
Thank
you
you.
very
Same
much.
for you for Switzerland. Please feel free
Thank
to
you.
join
Thank you
us.
so
Bye.
much. All the best.
Namaste.
Have a
Thank
wonderful.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Dear audience, with this, we end the show today. You want to add something?
No, no, and looking forward to bringing you another amazing story next week.
Yes.
Bye for now.
Be rooted and happy Diwali.
Bye for now.
Thanks for joining our circular journey. We hope you are as pumped about sustainability as we are.
Absolutely. And if these stories didn't get you fired up, we don't know what will.
Hit subscribe and follow us everywhere: TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, you name it. And share it with your family and friends.
And if you got a cool story or want to connect to our guests, let us know.
Stay tuned for more inspiring episodes. Let's keep evolving towards a sustainable future together.